Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Capital and Kayfabe. I am your co-host, JP John Paz from the Two-Man Power Trip. Of course, joining me, the political pundit, the former campaign manager, the author, the historian, Jack Hunter. Jack, welcome in. How you doing?
Good to be with you, John. Excited about our conversation today.
Man, whenever we can do the meld of wrestling and politics and put together, it's perfect kind of storm here. And you sent me something awesome from Rand Paul talking about Stone Cold Steve Austin, for Christ's sake. What is going on here? What is going on with Rand Paul? I didn't know he was a wrestling fan. What's going on?
Oh, Rand Paul's not a wrestling fan. He just happens to know Glenn Jacobs, who's a famous wrestling libertarian. And I used to work for him, and he knows I love this stuff. I guess he did an interview. I think it was with Piers Morgan. And, right now, Rand Paul is on the outs with Trump and, calls him a stone cold loser and all this kind of stuff, which is stupid because he's one of the biggest defenders of MAGA and against the impeachments and all that. But that aside, he was asked by the host, Rand Paul was, how does he feel about those insults from Trump? And his reply was, well, Trump was in the WWE once. He shaved Vince McMahon's head. And he even took a stone cold stunner. And he basically said that this stuff is like wrestling. He didn't take it personally. He's saying what he has to say right now politically, but that's the world that Trump comes from. And he retweeted his comments on the interview, Rand Paul, later. He said, P.S., please don't shave my head. So that's what was going on with Rand Paul in the world of WWE, Stone Cold, and Donald Trump.
So not a wrestling fan, but he does know wrestling and wrestlers. So he knows a little bit.
Yeah, I know he took his children when they were still kids to see WWE in Kentucky, courtesy of Kane once. I know that, but it's just not something he or his father really, it's not, we know people like that, plenty of people who don't really know anything about professional wrestling, and that's okay too. Missing out on a lot, in my opinion, but, it is what it is.
I like that he knew Stone Cold, though. Obviously, he's somewhat versed with his wrestling.
Yeah, and I think figures like Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold, John Cena, The Rock, people know who those people are. Batista, even if you don't know wrestling, Hulk Hogan probably at the top of that. But if you're in politics, obviously he's a senator or whatever, you know about Trump being in WWE, the head shaving and the Stone Cold stunner. Like, at least that much because you've seen the clips, whether it be memes or whatever, for so long.
When you're looking at that, he does kind of describe politics and wrestling perfectly, right? I mean, geez, it's all a work.
It is a work, and I've said this a million times. I think I've said it on this show. The biggest difference between political fans and wrestling fans is wrestling fans know what they're watching is not real.
I love that Rand Paul is exposing that for the masses, though. That's great.
Yeah, these people argue and bicker, and the cameras go off, and it's mostly fine. That's not always true. John McCain, the late John McCain, used to insult Rand Paul all the time when I worked in his office and called him a puppet of Putin and an agent of the old Soviet Union or whatever. Just called him a Russian, goon or whatever. And McCain would call and apologize. And after about the fifth or sixth time, Rand just quit taking his calls. He's like, the hell with that guy. So it can be real sometimes too.
I was just listening to somebody talking about something similar to that, and they were talking about politics and how come this gets over with some people and this doesn't. And it says, well, sometimes they try to match up like video to like what they're saying as far as like a catchphrase or something that they're trying to get over. Like even like a Renee Good thing, like they're trying to get over and like they'll wear the I am good or what, whatever they.
Yeah.
But the video that goes with it, he goes, and it's almost like a little bit of mind control where you don't even realize it, but you're almost being hypnotized into thinking like, yeah, she was great, and like we support this. Like they're tricking you with a work, and they kind of reinforce the work.
Yeah, they're cutting promos in politics. The reason wrestlers cut promos is to sell the angle they're doing or what they're about or what they're doing, so you will want to see it and buy tickets and buy the pay-per-view and whatnot. In politics, it's pretty similar. Look, in Trump's first presidency, I sort of wrote a column mocking his former ambassador, John Bolton. He went to this national conservatism conference, and John Bolton was trying to frame America first as, and for those who don't know, John Bolton is a neoconservative who always wants to go to war with everybody at all times, like Lindsey Rubio, Ted Cruz, these people, Mark Levin. But John Bolton at this conference was trying to sell America first as America should be first in Afghanistan. America should be first in Iran. I mean, that's not what it is. That's not what Trump was saying. He was saying no more endless wars, no more regime change wars. Well, now we're at this juncture where we might be on the cusp of war with Iran. We had a regime change in Venezuela. And people like John Bolton who were saying America should be first in this foreign country and first in that foreign country have Marco Rubio and Lindsey Graham and sometimes Trump even sounding the same. I'm like, boy, that the point being is John Bolton was cutting a promo that didn't get over at that conference in Trump's first term. And now the same idea, the same kind of promos are being used to good effect, if you see what I'm saying. But they're still promos. This is professional wrestling. The principle of what Trump was originally talking about in America First has not changed, but their promos have changed it, if that makes sense.
Yes, it is crazy. Like, certain things that they try to get over, and then the way they kind of manipulate the crowd, very much like pro wrestling, where you're trying to manipulate the crowd and kind of obviously get them to maybe cheer or boo or whatever you want on the roller coaster ride that is, the wild world of wrestling.
Yeah, and it's attached to personalities. I only voted for Trump once the last time, and a big part of that was former George W. Bush voters who thought Iraq War was a good idea, that torture and the Patriot Act and mass surveillance were a good idea, to the degree that Trump was saying the opposite. And these voters, this base, loved Trump. Well, I wanted to be a part of that. I'm like, yeah, Trump is right. No more regime change wars. No more endless wars. That's your guy. That's your wrestler. That's the guy you like. That's who's over with you. I agree with him. We should do what he says on these principles. You see what I'm saying? But the whole time I know it's wrestling. He could change his message, but they still like the personality, and they're with him on that. But that's all. That's all this is. That's why Lindsey Graham's like, yeah, MAGA, make Iran great again is the new thing, and he got Trump to wear the MIGA hat. It's the messaging. It's promos. It's getting over.
Man, speaking of getting over, I don't know if this show got over or not, but what did you think of TNA on AMC, the debut? Just overall, what did you kind of think and your thoughts on that show and how it went?
I thought it was all right. It was not a good show. AJ Styles was great in the beginning. I love that Santana won, although I felt like I only saw about 3 minutes of the entire main event because there was like a 12-minute commercial block.
Crazy. Yep.
I like the former Sonya Deville showing up unexpectedly, and the former Cora Jade, Elena Black now, I guess, in TNA. I like that. I like Mr. Elegance. I don't know what the hell is going on, but it made me laugh. The ripped up dude with the,
Yeah. Who is that guy? Yeah.
I don't know, but I was just laughing. I'm like, this is stupid in the kind of ways I like my wrestling. But the production of it, I mean, you've heard this from other people. There are a lot of people who haven't watched TNA since it was on Spike, and like Christopher Daniels and AJ and Samoa Joe and Kurt Angle were mixing it up, right? They're like, man, this is still around. It's on AMC. I'm going to check it out. That's what they saw. The production, it had 3 matches, which is not good. And of those 3 matches, I mean, the women's tag team titles changed hands, and you knew that because when you came back from commercial, you saw the new champions with the belts in their hands. You didn't even see the finish. I'm curious what AMC doesn't want that kind of junky production on their prestigious channel, right? So I don't know. I'm curious to see what they do this Thursday. I'll obviously be watching. I'm rooting for them. I don't say this gladly. I want the company to succeed. I like a lot of what's going on there. I'm glad Santana's a champ. I understand that Genesis was a better show. I didn't order it based on what I saw Thursday. And you would have just had to give me a little bit on Thursday to order it on Saturday. I instead watched AAA and Collision. But, yeah, not a good debut at all. And I know I'm just saying what many others are saying.
To me, ups and downs. Like, there was parts I did like, and obviously there's parts I didn't like. A lot of production snafus. I liked, obviously, AJ being a part of it. I feel like production was just it could be shot better, cleaner, better cameras. I don't know, but they got it, and it got it fixed. There's so many commercials. I didn't maybe realize that on AMC, but is there always that many commercials? And when you have that many commercials, the production truck, it's their responsibility. You got to alert the announcer, so the announcer lets you know they're going to commercial. And you can't do it during the middle of a match. You can't cut off the main event guys' entrances, which is both huge. Like, you start off the match and boom, they're already about to wrestle. The bell rang. Like, oh shit, I missed their entrances. What the hell happened? Just a lot of snafus.
People complain about too many commercials on WWE or whatever, and we could debate that. But at least, like, when they go into commercial, the production makes sense, and when they come back from commercial, the production makes sense. You might have missed something what's going on, but not crucial stuff to the show most of the time. Correct? So Mike Santana regained the TNA championship on this debut, and we didn't get to see that cool him walking out among the people, kind of like Moxley does in AEW. He walks through the crowd, and it's cool. We didn't see any of that. This guy's going to be your new champion on their big show on AMC, and we didn't even get to see stuff like that. On that TNA show, when it went to break, it would be in the middle of something that was important and come back, and you miss something that was important. No sort of discipline there, and that's just sad. It feels like a high school audiovisual club could have done better.
Yeah, just some things like easily like correctable, just as far as like heck the heck did you let that happen? Just not good communication there on the production end of things at all. I just can't believe he came
Right.
back like, wait, did I miss something with a tag match? What the heck happened there? Very, very odd.
It was completely bizarre. My heart kind of saying, not that I was that invested in it, but I want all wrestling companies to do well because I'm a fan. I like watching all this stuff. I can't get enough of it. I'm glutton for punishment, but like that's what you give me. Especially they were off TV for a month. They were doing replay stuff. They had a month to kind of figure this out, and that's what they did. That's not good.
And not not their best effort for their first show. They did try to put a lot of stuff in there just as far as some non-wrestling stuff. Like you said, only 3 matches, but then they had the Santino stuff, the Daria stuff, Elena Black debuts. They had a lot of things going on. The Righteous is back. They're signed to TNA, so there's a lot of things that they did, but they also missed the main event angle that set up Genesis.
They missed,
So,
yeah. So went off the
so they
air.
missed
Nick
that.
Nimitz did some stuff and whatever.
Yep.
I didn't see Genesis based on what I saw Thursday night. That's the point of a show, is to sell me on that. I usually order almost every TNA pay per view. I have TNA Plus, but I didn't just after what I saw. And I understand it was a good show. One more thing, John, we should bring up: there's celebrities at the debut who were nobody. I didn't know half of them. I'm an old guy, but whatever.
Yep.
Were shot. That arena had over 3,000 people, which is healthy for a TNA show and the size of that arena. But parts of it are people. That's just normal. That WWE shows have been like that in the past. They shot those celebrities with completely empty seats behind them. I'd rather not seen the celebrities with that. Like, their perception matters. That's stupid.
Yep. Definitely a bit of a mistake with that too, because obviously that's the camera side too, where like you're obviously blocking off so the camera, so you don't have fans around the camera. Why wouldn't you put the celebrities on the other side where all the fans are, so you could see them? It just
Right. And giving high fives to the fans and celebrities or something like that, but not empty seats behind us. Like, look how low, minor league we are. Look at all these empty seats. That's just terrible.
yeah. A little bit of some mistakes there, easily correctable in my estimation. I feel like if they just got to get their stuff together, like whoever's running the show needs to really run the show.
I don't get it. The production. I mean, there's other stuff, but that was the big one.
Are you at all excited for the Royal Rumble this year in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia? It's coming up soon, basically a week and a half from when we're recording this now. Do you like the build? Bad build? Good build? I know I saw some people online complaining it hasn't really been a build because they've been building towards the first Raw, the first SmackDown, Saturday night's main event, everything like that. So what do you think about the Royal Rumble in Riyadh?
I'm always excited about the Royal Rumble. It's one of the best pay-per-views of the year, sometimes even better than Mania. Just of it. As far as the build, a couple people have announced. I like every time that buzzer goes off, you're not sure who's going to come out exactly. So if it's 20 surprises, I ain't mad at that. Who cares? Wait the day of. I don't like when they're in Saudi, not for political reasons, just because I like to watch live. And I'm going to watch that at 7 or 8 o'clock that night later after the fact. I don't like watching stuff in the middle of the day like that. To me, that's a nighttime, have a couple beverages kind of thing. I ain't trying to do that at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday or whatever it is. But other than that, yes, I'm very excited. I like that we're in a place now. I guess, there are reports that Triple H had a change of mind and creative direction heading into Mania. That's part of why Drew defeated Cody for the title on that SmackDown. I like that we don't know exactly what's going to happen, who's going to be in the Rumble, and who might win the Rumble. It looks like Gunther, like somebody we'd expect to be in the Rumble and tried to be in it, kind of taking himself off because he's going to be fighting AJ on a singles match, which I like too. And I think AJ is going to win. He's going to be with us throughout 2026. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's deciding to retire in January. I don't think so, but
We'll see. We're going to find out.
Yeah, and it's intriguing, and that's good pro wrestling, right? Yeah, no, I'm excited about the Rumble. I want to see Obafemi win the Rumble and go beat Drew's ass and be the champion or something like that. Anything could happen. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I feel like I don't think they would have Cody win it again, but then had he get him, because obviously he's your top babyface, had he get him in the spot, would you use it for the Elimination Chamber to get him in like the top spot as far as the one of the main events? Is he going to wrestle somebody else? Is it going to be a non-title? But obviously he's got to be one of the two main events. Punk to me has to be one of the other two main events. So it's just interesting kind of to see where they're going and what they're doing. Interesting to note that supposedly he made the call to job to Drew because he thought it'd be a better build-up for Mania, and Triple H agreed. So that's an interesting little factoid as well.
And I think he's right. I think not having the belt on Cody for a little bit is good for Cody, and I'm not mad. He's still Cody Rhodes. he should be world champion because he's Cody Rhodes. When he's not, it doesn't matter because he's Cody Rhodes. You know what I'm saying? He's just at that level. Nobody, when Ric Flair lost his belt for 3 weeks, was like, oh my God, he's so diminished. I don't want to see this. No, he's Ric Flair. Cody's in that spot. He just is. Cena didn't have to be champion in most of his later career to matter. So I think he made the right call. It kind of freshens him up a little bit. And when he does win it again, do we think Braun Breaker takes the belt off CM Punk at WrestleMania?
Oh,
just a thought.
That is possible. That's definitely possible.
I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it could, given everything that's going on right now. I'm loving the Adam Pearce Braun Breaker stuff with Heyman.
Yeah, I like that. That's cool. That's different. Interestingly enough, though, Jacob Fatu and Cody kind of being a little bit of a bridge feud, if you will, right now, with Cody obviously being mad that Jacob, by accident, so to speak, cost him his world title.
I wonder what they do with that, because Jacob is a fan favorite and Cody obviously is too. Is this a thing where they fight and they get it out of their system and then Jacob becomes good guy again and they're like allies in some way? That's what I would do.
It's definitely possible. It is kind of one of those things where you kind of putting Cody out there, not that he'll get booed or anything. He's number one babyface, but it's like Jacob definitely has a huge groundswell of fans. Obviously, he is a babyface, but he's one of those guys that like organically got over and they had to make him a face. So it's like, wow, you're putting Cody in there with him. Usually Cody's in there with guys that are true blue, 100% healed. Like you see with Solo, you know what I mean? Like he wasn't getting booed or anything like that. Usually with Drew, obviously, too. I mean, Cody's the big baby face. So interesting direction, but I like it because it's fresh.
Yeah, and I've seen some speculate that maybe Cody's turning heel or some boos or whatever, but like I think that's a big mistake. I think he's Hulk Hogan in 1986. Like he's the baby face, the kids dress up like him. Yep. I think you think it's cool that night, and about a week later you'd be like, what the hell are we doing? That's what Cena ended up being, even though I enjoyed his heel run more than other people did. Do you agree with that? I think he is a white meat baby face, merch selling top guy. That's what he needs to be and stay that.
Yep. And even from when me and my son went to that house show at the beginning of the year, you could even just tell in the house shows he had the most merch. He got the biggest pop. The crowd was going nuts for him. He's literally kissing babies and shaking hands and all those stuff. Like he is, especially when you go to the live shows, he's like the guy.
I have a longtime friend I've known since our early 20s. We were at a gathering the other night, and he goes, hey, man, my daughter's been to WWE, and she's 13. And I go, Cody or Rhea? He goes, she likes Rhea Ripley. How you know that? It's a girl. Yeah. But like that's your two baby faces right now that I'm not saying they don't like Punk or some of these other people. They do, but like that's the two, Jey Uso for sure. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yep.
I've had other people, friends of mine who don't watch wrestling, their kids watch it. They mention it to me, and usually Cody Rhodes. And they're like, yeah, how'd you know? I'm like, because I watched this. And yeah. So.
Yep. Another guy who kind of been getting over pretty damn organically, but after the John Cena feud, definitely cements himself as a big-time heel, but was getting a lot of babyface reaction. That's Dominic Mysterio. Great video package on AAA about Dominic, who obviously has a shoulder injury. We don't know how long he's out for. Hopefully not that very long. He's the mega champion, the mega campeon. And he's also the Intercontinental champion. He's a big part of Raw. He's a big part of the Judgment Day. But did you know that for some reason WWE's video package editing people think he's the AEW World Champion? And you can see here, I don't know how great your eyesight is, but that's the best picture I can come up with. So they used AI mixed in with their video packages. And I guess without really editing it, didn't really notice, but at the still shot of him holding the Intercontinental title and wearing the AAA title, AI, who loves to do this, changed the belt to AEW. And this was on the AAA, obviously, TV show that airs on Fox Latino. This was on the YouTube page of WWE and AAA, of course, but he's wearing the AEW title. How crazy is that? They don't edit that?
That should be a lesson in the limits of AI that you need to double check. If I Googled the other night, how long is a raw steak good in the fridge? You know, AI said one thing, and then right below it that a human being wrote said kind of the same thing, but slightly different. You need to go further and check. This right here, a major company, you know, whether we're talking about AAA or WWE or combination of, like, what the hell? Like, that's pretty bad oversight. I wonder who got yelled at about that. Beyond that, this whole thing that they did with the animation and whatnot was one of the highlights of the show. this
Very
Triple A
cool,
show,
yeah.
their debut on Fox Mexico, which was great. I watched entirely in Spanish, and you got to watch in English with Corey Graves and JBL
and
was it
Ray.
Conan?
Yep.
Was it Conan or Rey Mysterio?
No,
Or?
Rey Mysterio. Conan is. I think he's not doing too well health wise right now. Or this week he was sick or something. Yeah, so Ray filled in.
Okay, well, hope Conan feels better. I didn't know that part, but I watched the whole show in Spanish with my girlfriend, and we thought it was fantastic. I love not only how over Dominic's over in WWE, but really over in AAA, and El Grande Americano might be as over as Dominic Mysterio there.
Yeah.
The guy, once again, some of my leftist friends, when the El Grande thing started, were talking about cultural appropriation, and they were offended. And I'm like, you guys are jackasses. This is awesome. This is funny as hell. These were white people, as it always is. And then they go to the Latino country of Mexico, where everybody's brown-skinned and speaks Spanish, and this is their favorite guy. I love it so much. I want to go to Mexico and watch El Grande Americano fight somebody.
They literally turned him into like their biggest baby face, and Vikingo is their biggest heel now with Omos. So it's like, oh my God, he is their big baby face. Like, how crazy is that?
And they're smart. Vikingo, they're smartly embracing the heel stuff. And he's a heel just because he beat El Patron, who they liked, and WWE wants nothing to do with. It's when we were talking about earlier in politics and positioning, it's just that. Vikingo didn't do anything heel. He did his job, which was beat the champion they liked because of politics and companies buying things and whatnot. But yeah, what a great show and great product. I look forward to watching that every Saturday. They're big shows too.
And like when we're talking about TNA, who obviously has a relationship with WWE and NXT, they obviously are, 49% owners or 51%, or however you want to look at it. Basically 50-50 split, WWE and AAA as far as ownership. Man, they put their production into it. You could tell how sleek it is.
Yeah. That's the thing. I ordered some of the Wrestle Kingdoms, not Wrestle Kingdom, that's Japan, the Triple Manias, like back when, like Kenny Omega would be on it, or the Young Bucks. And this was before AEW, when these guys were in Ring of Honor and New Japan or doing different stuff. And I'd order them because those people were on it. And those shows might have had a couple cool things, and usually the main events with the guys I knew. But there was a lot of sloppy stuff, or maybe me as an American just didn't appeal to me. Do you know what I'm talking about? It was just kind of weird.
Yes.
That production, particularly with AAA and WWE, it's not like that anymore. And if that's called, WWE-ification, then good. I'm glad that happened, because as an American viewer and fan of this stuff who watches it regularly now, I like that. And the Mexican fans seem to too. But I can see.
To me, it's like, man, if they put the machine behind it, you could literally tell like the production value gets amped up to the nth degree. You know what I mean? It's like remarkable what they're able to do.
I can tell you who's definitely not mad that WWE bought AAA, Mr. Iguana. So it's going to be good for them all around.
That was pretty cool. They showed Bad Bunny had it, the Yeska thing, and he was using it. That was pretty cool.
Mr. Iguana, all that stuff. I mean, how many American fans were talking about Psycho Clown this time last year? And I'm not saying he's like the tip of their tongues, but he's known more than he used to be.
Here's an interesting thing that I saw somebody on Twitter put it out there, and I saw it. I just thought it was funny. So pro wrestling, right? You think AEW always says they're pro wrestling. WWE is sports entertainment. So basically it's saying like, hey, we're the best wrestling. This is where the best wrestles. AEW, WWE, sports entertainment. We're sports, we're entertainment. We're going to entertain you. Maybe it's a different style. A lot of the guys maybe do the same style, but you could kind of say AEW is more wrestling focused, and WWE is more sports entertainment focused. They're trying to get maybe a bigger, broader audience. AEW may be more niche, where it's strictly the wrestling fans that love wrestling matches, right? Here's the only issue, though. So you go to the Jacksonville Jaguars website, and you see who's the chief strategic officer, if you will, the one that's in charge of the analytics and everything. Obviously, Tony Khan, his dad, Chad Khan, owns the Jaguars. He's part owner in the Jaguars. It doesn't say he's a pro wrestling guy. They call him the sports entertainment guy. Basically, they said this is his description on the page with this picture: chief, strategic analytical officer. He's co-owner or part owner. Really, his dad's the owner. Blah blah. He goes through it, but it says he shook the sports entertainment world, and it keeps saying sports entertainment. So it's like, wow, he can probably just tell them, whoever runs the Jaguars website, guys, why wouldn't you put pro wrestling? But no, so the Jaguars even consider AEW sports entertainment. So they got to get on the same page there, Tony.
And that's WWE vernacular. That's Vince McMahon sports entertainment. That's him specifically. And he did that because he thought wrestling sounded too lowbrow or blue collar or redneck or whatever. I think Tony Khan takes pride in the term professional wrestling. And yeah, he should tell somebody like, hey, dude, me and my dad are the guys with the money around here. If you're going to change that, if it embarrasses you or whatever, who cares? So that's
I just think it's funny, like they're not on the same page, if you will. Like he's sports entertainment, but I thought
not on the same. Yeah, they're not on the same page. And I would add to that, you could say professional wrestling in WWE right now, and Triple H doesn't seem to have a problem with it, even does it himself sometimes. Unless I'm going crazy. I think I've remembered him doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Because it shouldn't be something that's you're dismissive or keep it arm's end that you're embarrassed about. That's that. I wasn't embarrassed about it when I was going to the St. Andrews High School gym once a month to see Rock and Roll Midnight Express. That was nothing fancy, believe me, but it was great. So
sounds awesome, actually.
Yeah, it's $10 for general admission and $12 for front row, and I sprung that extra $2, or my parents did. I was a kid, but.
Man, remember when tickets weren't absolutely outrageous?
Yeah, Tony Schiavone would be like, we're coming to Charleston on this date, blah. And you go down to the drugstore in our neighborhood. You'd go in there and they'd pull out a thing of tickets and take the rubber band off. How many do you need? 2? Okay. That's how you get. There was no Ticketmaster. That's what it was. That's the 80s and the early 90s.
Those were the days, to quote All in the Family. Those were the days. Crazy too with AEW, right? So they signed at least 12 wrestlers so far this year. Like the Rascals, Zeta Steel just got signed, Alec Price, Jordan Oliver, Jack Doyle. I mean, all these guys, ton of guys. But Trey Miquel, I don't know if you saw this. He got released right after he got signed. He got released.
I saw that, and if you saw different, it seemed amicable, and it seemed like he just wanted to step away from wrestling. I don't know if it's family issues or whatever. It's not my business, but it didn't seem like he was discovered to be a secret serial killer or something weird. I mean, it seemed amicable and whatever. It's weird that they just signed him and then he made this decision, or it was made for him. We don't know.
So it's weird. Some wrestling website found an old, I guess it was from 2018 to 2019, an old Twitter argument with him. And I don't know if you remember David Starr. He was that wrestler who he still wrestles like in Israel and stuff, and then like overseas.
He got caught up with the Me Too stuff.
Me Too stuff. Yeah. Speaking out, Me Too. So he got all caught up. And I guess Trey Miquel went off on him, like maybe some anti-Jewish stuff.
Oh man!
So it's a little hatred and a little bit of maybe bad rhetoric there from Trey Miquel. But obviously, this is 7 or 8 years ago. This website can't be right. But then Trey Miquel posted a tweet, kind of confirming what the website said, saying that like he's sorry for his past and he's grown so much and he's so mature. Still, everybody check out the Rascals. They're great, blah, blah. So he kind of confirmed what that website said.
That was stupid.
Yeah. So, and then David Starr, I saw somebody had gotten whatever his real name is on Facebook, and he put out a whole thing about it, how times have changed, and he knows Trey regrets that, and he's older now, and that was 8 years ago, and blah, 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 blah. No reason to release the guy for it. And so he kind of reiterated and kind of basically put the stamp on it that's why he was released. So AEW again is kind of releasing somebody from something that happened like almost a decade ago. What is going on?
Well, and first of all, kudos to David Starr for showing some grace and saying, this was one kid. He said, being a Jewish man, a Jewish professional wrestler, if anti-Semitic was said, you should take offense at that. That's wrong. But recognizing the age of somebody that did, and even if it was really bad, forgiving them, that's what you're supposed to do. Maybe he had some, he wants to get back in the U.S. wrestling scene. I don't know, but that's the thing to do. And kudos to him. I think I got a picture of me and David Starr somewhere from 10 years ago at some indie show. But yeah, I don't know exactly what Trey said. You're teaching me something, John, about why he might have.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Social media exists. People say all kinds of stuff. How often did he say it? Is that his heart? I don't know his ethnic or religious background. That could have something, if he was Muslim or something, that would surprise me less than if he was from Kentucky or something. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I'm certainly not going to condemn him, but I do condemn anti-Semitism in general.
it was just odd that, like, okay, this website floated it out there. It must have been somewhere where they found it and they kind of floated it out there. So it's like, oh, that's probably not true, or maybe it seemed like he's stepping away for another reason, and then boom, all of a sudden he basically confirms it on Twitter. He put it out there. He's sorry and everything else. So I just thought, like, wow, that's kind of like. I don't know, like basically confirming that that's why he got released. And I don't know if Tony, that's a good look for him, to be honest. Like, releasing guys for something they said 8 years ago. I mean, I don't know. Very, very
I tend to
wonky
agree
stuff.
with you. I would like to think we're past that. Like, you can make mistakes or whatever. It depends on how many times you did it and the degree of it. Like, that matters. But this doesn't seem like it should be elevated to the see ya, bye, category. I do think it's cool that they announced the Rascals on the Wednesday before the TNA debut. Like, that's just smart politics.
Yeah, by them, yep.
Yeah.
So Trey Miquel's gone, but they added about 12 other guys. So,
right.
But so he put out there, I've made a lot of mistakes in my time. I've always apologized and did my best to do better and put the right foot forward. After, I don't preach hate and I don't take any pride in being hateful. I'm a man of faith. I believe in forgiveness and only ever preach that. I'm a different man today. That's what he wrote, very ambiguously. Didn't reply to anybody and whatever. He just put that out there on social media. So basically he confirms it.
So here's what I'm hoping. You don't see him for a month or 3 or 6, and then you do. And it'll be exciting for fans and for him. That would be my hope.
Still got the other 3.
Right. But shows up back in the mix and people will be excited if you're a Rascals fan and, I'm an AEW fan. That
what would be smart of TNA? I know it kind of seems like, he just left us, but you know what I mean? Like AEW with Andrade, just sign him right back and make it like, oh, he's back. He didn't want to go, or what I mean? Like, steal him right back.
It would be a surprise to everybody considering what just happened, just like it was with Andrade. And I didn't expect to see Sonya Deville on TNA the other night. I like that surprise. I've always liked her. I thought, based on interviews I'd read or watched, she was done with wrestling, kind of not in a negative way, just wanted to act and do different things. So it was cool to see her. So that they could do that with him in TNA.
Now, staying with AEW, I'm just curious. They head to Australia almost every year now, it seems like, but it's interesting. So they're doing a house show, and then they got the Grand Slam, which is really a dynamite taping type of thing, where they kind of put Collision on there as well. Do you like that, though? I know it's good to go, and WWE does it all the time and stuff. Do you like the way that they do this? Basically, there's no pay-per-view for a while, but they'll go to Australia, and they'll kind of turn that into pay-per-view on television?
I don't mind it. I like the idea that they give us something that's pay-per-view quality on their regular TV sometimes. I think that's the hell. WWE did that with SmackDown last week. By the time you're watching it, it had been 2 weeks ago. But I like that. I'm not please, I can save $40 or $50 and watch something as good and shorter on Wednesday night. Oh, I'm so upset about that. No, I think it's cool. I like that they're trying to be more of an international company and have for some time. I like that WWE's doing that too. I like watching stuff live, but I'm not mad when they're in Europe like WWE is now, and I'm watching it later, but those crowds, where they go, it's cool. I like when AEW goes to Australia. It's Tony Storm and all that. That's pretty neat.
Very interesting that it just seems to be almost like bridging it between pay-per-views. It's like, let's use Australia as like this. It seems like that's the pattern. I don't know why that is, but I guess they have good crowds. It makes it seem bigger. But remember last year they were supposed to be in a big arena and they went to a small arena. So it's not necessarily like hitting as much in Australia as maybe a pay-per-view would or something. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if they feel like it's as big as a deal as it should be.
That's a fair point. When's the next pay-per-view? Revolution in March?
I believe so. Yeah,
I believe so. I think that's early March. So we've got the rest of this
2 months. Yeah.
February with no pay-per-view, but I still expect a good product from AEW. I like the overseas shows, but I hear what you're saying too. Maybe it's not hitting the same if they just had a regular pay-per-view in late January or February.
Right. I mean, the crowds were in it, but they had a way smaller arena than they thought they were going to get. They had to kind of switch and then went with a smaller sized arena to basically, sell it out, so to speak. But it was like, man, we didn't do as good here as we thought we did because it wasn't as good as the year before.
I wonder if they paid so much for WWE tickets in Australia that they chose one over the other,
That
but
could
then again,
definitely
the AEW tickets aren't going to be that as expensive. So I don't know. You could argue that either way.
Could be wrestling doubts. You know what I mean? Like, we saw wrestling already. That type of thing.
Yeah, and in my mind, the big American companies that they watch on TV go over there so little that you would just clamor to want to go to any time they came. When in Ireland, Raw last night, like they said, this is the first time Raw's been in Ireland, or they've had a world title match in Ireland. I wouldn't have thought that, but given the long history of WWE. But
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying,
good match too. Punker going
sure
over
was.
Finn Balor. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I thought Punk was winning, but they had me believing otherwise for a little bit, and that's their job, and it was great.
I know some people were complaining like, "Oh, he doesn't deserve a title shot," and whatever they were saying. They're in Ireland. It makes sense. It's like they got to do 52 weeks of TV. You got to make it interesting and compelling. I like it, and obviously there's the whenever Punk wrestles on TV, you kind of see the metric of more people tune in. So
correct, and it was. I mean, he was the first Universal Champion, then got hurt. So like there was a time when they believed he was the guy. It wasn't outside the realm of possibility, especially when they're trying some different things and Drew beating Cody, that this Irish legend in WWE at this point might have beaten CM Punk. It was believable, even though, some of us thought it probably wouldn't happen. And that was
finally,
part of the intrigue.
Yep, and finally gave him his good theme music back, which I enjoyed.
Absolutely. And he got to do the whoa and all that kind of stuff. He missed his first cue a little bit. I guess he was a little rusty on the whoa.
But it's like, man, where the hell was that? Yeah.
WWE's in Ireland. Let's give them an Irish Raw. And that's why you could have done. Becky came out there. Makes perfect sense. Ireland, they were stupid. Like it was all good from an Irish perspective.
Makes perfect sense to me. I thought it was good. So just one final thing here. The Florida Panthers visiting the White House. Did you see they got some heat for this because they were very pro-Trump? And isn't that odd that they're being pro-president and getting heat for it?
You talking about the Carolina Panthers or the
the hockey team?
The hockey team. Okay. Well,
I don't know if you saw that. So they Trump wears the red tie. They wore suits with the red tie. They're like looking like him, and he was kind of joking around with them. But a lot of people were like mad that they were like, first of all, going to the White House to see the president, which is normal to me, but that they were so like enthralled with him, kind of like, you know what I mean? Like they were too positive with him is what the verdict was. I was like, wow, that's interesting kind of way to look at things.
I think the people who were rubbed the wrong way with that are being kind of ridiculous. But also if you're it's one thing to go meet the president. If I was in their position and Kamala Harris was president, I would be honored to go meet the president. It doesn't matter who it is. It's the role, right? The office, president of the United States. But if I was Trump and I kind of like Trump and I dressed up like him and kind of cheered that's a different thing. And those guys are putting their political opinions into the public, into public forums. And some people aren't going to like it. It is. I do this for a living, so I know that. It just is what it is. But I think the people who might be really upset about it are being kind of ridiculous. It's like when Trump had the college athletes and he fed them all McDonald's.
Oh, yeah, they loved it. Yeah.
I thought that was great. And it doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat or how you feel about Trump. That's just funny, right? That they go into the White House and eat McDonald's because he liked McDonald's. But people made that political, too. Yes. So that's kind of hard for me to take those people seriously.
True. Oh, and one final thing I wanted to mention. Do you think the Don Lemon stuff, do you think that's a hate crime? Like he goes into the Catholic Church and disrupts Mass and stuff? Because they're kind of going to view it as that.
So there should not be such a thing as a hate crime. You should be punished for the crime you committed. I committed violence against you. I assaulted you. I tried to murder you. I vandalized your property. I trespassed. Hate crime is what in your brain makes it extra. But hate crimes do exist. And the truth is, Don Lemon and his bunch of goons walking into a Baptist church during Sunday service where people are just trying to have their church service is trespassing. He should be arrested and charged, which I think the Trump administration is doing under some KKK act. I guess they were probably harassing black people and Catholics back in the day. I don't know. And the federal government stepped in. But if it was a mosque, would people be calling it a hate crime? Yeah.
Oh, they'd be going
synagogue?
Nuts. They would go nuts.
Crime? Yeah, this was a Baptist church. So you see what I'm getting at. I think I was offended watching it. Just like, you jackass. These are people. These are kids going to Sunday service like they do every week. This is part of their lives and culture and faith. You can't. And he was like, First Amendment. All right. I'm going to say things I shouldn't say on YouTube. All right, Don Lemon. The next time you're doing your show, we're going to break into your living room and protest. No, that's trespassing. That's your property. That was the church's property. And I think that the pastor even said, like, hey, dude, we're just trying to have a church service here. And Don Lemon goes, First Amendment rights. No, you're not. That is not your First Amendment rights. That pastor should have socked you in the face. He's not going to do that because he's a pastor, but that's what should have happened. Maybe somebody else could have done that. But no, he's completely in the wrong. And a reminder of just how stupid this person is, that he thinks that's free speech. No, they could gather outside the church and have an opinion about something. That's free speech on the street.
You can't disrupt it. Yeah, that's
right.
crazy.
You can't walk into go into the halls of Congress, just like walk down on the Senate floor and start protesting and claim your First Amendment rights and see what happens. You can't do that.
Crazy. All right, so let's wrap it up on that note. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at 2ManPowerTrip. How about you, Jack?
You can find me on X at JackHunter74 for all my nonsense and more.
Thank you, everybody out there, for listening. We'll see you right back here next time. A little Capital and Kayfabe. See you next